Okay, so here we have a car race where we have the red car going through the goal at a speed of 170 kilometers per hour. And we're taking the time. The blue car ends up being 0.2 of a second behind the red car. And the question is, what distance? We know it's 0.2 seconds, but how many meters behind is the red car? Well, we know that the red car has a speed of 170 kilometers per hour. But we're not going to measure the distance that the car is behind in kilometers. We're going to need it in meters. So the first thing we have to do is change our units of meters per hour, kilometers per hour to meters per second. And then we just think of our standard conversion tables. If we had 1 kilometer, how many meters would that be? It would be 1,000 meters. So to change kilometers to meters, we would multiply by 1,000. So we do that. It gives us a speed of 170 times 1,000 in meters. Now we think about how do we change 1 hour into seconds? Well, to change 1 hour into seconds, we would first multiply by 60 to get minutes, and then multiply the minutes by another 60 to get seconds. So that's the same as multiplying by 3,600. So 1 hour is the same as 3,600. But the hour is under the divide line here. To change from hours to seconds, we would multiply by 3,600. We have to keep this number below the divide line because the hours were below the divide line. So this would be the same as dividing by 3,600. Converting hours to seconds we do by multiplying by 3,600. But because it's kilometers per hour, the hour is under the divide line here. The seconds are under the divide line here. We have to keep the 3,600 under the divide line. So that's quite easy then to work out. We cancel 2 zeros here. So the speed in meters per second will end up as being 1,700 divided by 36 meters per second. And just plug those into the calculator and it gives you a speed in meters per second of 47.2 meters per second. Now it's pretty easy for us to work out the distance because we have our speed that the car was travelling at 47.2 meters per second, and we know that the blue car was 0.2 seconds behind. So if it goes 47.2 meters for every second in 0.2 of a second, the car will travel 0.2 seconds multiplied by 47.2 meters per second. What happens here? If we just look at our units first of all, we've got seconds up here and we've got divided by seconds down here, so we can see that they're going to cancel. This will give us an answer in meters. The meters will be the only unit that we have left here. And then we just take 47.2 multiplied by 0.2. It will give us an answer of 9.44 meters, approximately 9 meters. So the second car will be 9 meters behind the first one. If you get a bit confused when we get down to this step, what should I do with the 0.2 seconds? Do remember that we've always got our speed diagrams here, where we know from either the Swedish method, SVT, that velocity is sträcka divided by time, or SVT, Swedish television, or the English method that I use as well, speed is distance divided by time. The way that I remember this one is don't shout at teachers. Don't shout teachers. Don't shout at teachers. So we know that we have the speed, which we knew was 47.2 meters per second, and we also had the time. The time was 0.2 of a second. So the distance, if we just rearrange the algebra, the distance is the speed times the time. To get the distance, the top number, we just cover over, we want the distance, so we cover over the d with our thumb and look at what's left in the triangle. We have what's left in the triangle is speed times time. So the distance is the speed times the time. And then we can just plug the numbers in that we have there. The speed we knew was 47.2 meters per second, and the time was 0.2 seconds. The most important thing here is that we've got the same units. You can't start working with kilometers per hour and seconds because we have totally different units here. So you have to have kilometers per hour, change it into meters per second to be able to work with the time in seconds. Or you can change that time to from 0.2 of a second to hours and then work in kilometers. But you get tiny, tiny numbers here. So it would be much more sensible to convert your kilometers per hour into meters per second and then be able to use your 0.2 of a second.